Good afternoon. We're hopping on a little bit early for the closing stream because we're seeing some crazy price action out there. Okay, we're seeing some crazy things. Remember, we were talking this morning about those 2 hours confirming and watching those 30 minutes if they start to roll. Man, do you want to watch if those 30 minutes start to roll, because the SPY has given up most of its gains. What am I saying? Most of its gains. It's given up all the gains, and we're heading in the other direction right now. We have crossed down on the MACD, meaning things are pointing to the downside, and we need to be paying attention. So I figured I would jump on just a little bit earlier for the closing stream. Now, based on how things are setting up by the end of the day is what's going to really dictate whether or not I'm going to make a YouTube video tonight, but most likely I will. That is why you need to, look into possibly learning about how to trade in a crazier market like this one, how to manage your risk, because this right here could have faked you out for a second. That 2 hour crossed up for a moment, but if you weren't managing your trade, if you were not managing your trade very quickly with these crossings below, this crossing on the MACD, you might still be caught up in this mess to the downside. And it's not to say that this can't still play out to the upside after a few days of more of price action. It's more to say, hey, let me make my timing better if I'm playing an option, because timing is very, very important. We're still paying attention to this at this point. If we do curl up, the most likely thing from this area is going to be positivity. Okay, so we'll pay attention to that, but we do have the dollar turning up. Okay, as we look at the daily scale, we have the dollar seeing some green here. So that made sense. The dollar was up and the market was up at the same time. Makes sense. Now what we really want to pay attention to, you saw this 30-minute was able to curl up. Now we need to see if that is able to curl up on the 2 hour. That can mean we have a mess on our hands. If this 2 hour curls up, we have a big, big mess on our hands. And tomorrow we happen to get a piece of data that can really affect things. Since this sell-off started off with some jobs data, well, wouldn't that be ironic for some jobs data to really start to mess things up one more time? So what you want to see here, initial jobless claim is supposed to come in, the previous at 249K, supposed to come down, okay? So jobless claims actually supposed to come down. I believe that might actually be seen as a good thing at this point, right? The jobless claims going down, not going up, might be an actual good thing. So we'll pay attention to that when tomorrow comes to fruition, and we'll pay attention. But right now, if that 2 hour curls up, that's going to be a bad thing. So what I think might happen here is watch this 30 minutes, see if this is just a dip down to find some buyers to really fake you out by the end of the day, and then see if things start to curl back up to the upside, noticing that Apple has not turned down yet. I just deleted that off of there. Let me see if I can do this. Dang it. Okay, I got to add Apple back on here real quick. Oopsies. Accidente. I hate when I accidentally hit the delete button. And of course, it's the stock that I trade like the most. All right, there we go. So Apple, we're noticing this, not curled down on that 30-minute yet. Still more to happen there. Tesla is curling down, creating another point of divergence possibly here for Tesla. Amazon starting to curl down just now. So don't think that this selling can't continue, as we are just now seeing some stocks start to curl down. Nvidia really turning down from this area, going down towards these lows. We'll pay attention to that. AMD curling down, creating another point of divergence. So you're aware you can see some positive price action if we turn back up. Meta, this one's starting to give up, mainly in a pullback mode for now. We'll see if that's able to go negative. Microsoft turning down, just started. We'll see if this is able to base out at any time. Google, we'll see if that's going to actually curl down, confirming more downside. Hasn't done that just yet. Netflix actually confirming at least a pullback now. Remember, a little bit more likely for a higher low from Netflix, so I'd pay attention to that going forward. We do have AMC dropping down as of right now. Makes sense. 30-minute curled over. GME, we have that curling down. Hey, that makes sense as well. So we'll pay attention to a lot going on here. SMCI, my goodness, I just looked at that, and that is an ugly, ugly look. So for now, we just want to see what's going on in the SPY. Okay, is this an area where we can see some trade setups? Is Tesla going to curl back up, confirming, hey, we might see some positivity for a little bit of time here? Went from short term to long term in a matter of hours. Yes, as long as you were paying attention though to the SPY curling down, the Qs curling down, that risk should have been mitigated at least for the last hour or so, and you want to see if that's able to turn back up. But if these signals start to confirm, this is why I'm hopping on a little bit early. This, not necessarily something to worry about. This 30-minute can just really just turn back down. It was kind of expected. What would be unexpected is if you start to curl up on 2 hour charts. Remember, 2 hour curl ups are mainly what I'm looking for some extreme positivity, for volatility and some negativity in the market. As of right now, you have the 2 hour curled up. Still positive here, trying to see some kind of bounce. We'll see what happens from here. What we want to pay attention to is that 30-minute. If that can rotate back up at any time, weirdly enough, all of this could just be, hey, we're coming up to this point, we're curling back down, then we see this head to the upside. So as we can see, the PCC did come down to lower levels, causing that to be some kind of trap as the dollar was higher while the market was higher. So all these people with puts got hurt with the upward price action. Now with the upward price action, all these people that are going into the call side are starting to feel that pain. So we'll see if those start to rotate and we see an extreme push from this right here, but we really could bottom out at any time. So I'm already out of my short play. I did take a short play on volatility up in these areas, and that proved to be pretty good so far. Made about 145%. So what I did there was just looked at volatility, waited for this thing to curl over, and just said, okay, I'll take that, and boom, heads to the downside. SPY gets some kind of bounce. That leads to this. Now we see the flagging. If that is going to continue, well, you can measure some stuff out. I'm sure people would measure stuff out. Hey, we could head down to something like 507 or something like that. But I don't necessarily want to measure it out. I just really want to pay attention to my MACD. I don't want to assume anything is going to happen. I just want to say this is very, very bad. But if it does curl back around, hey, that would be a higher low. If this does curl all the way down here and turn back up, hey, that would be divergence. So I do believe that this might be a convincing moment to get you out of some plays to the upside before we get some data tomorrow. But there's two ways to look at that data. Is it going to show jobless claims increasing, aka more job data that is bad for the market, and that causes those yields to have to spike down? Or is it going to show those jobless claims actually going down, which actually would encourage those yields to go up? And you saw when those yields reacted down, what happened to the market? Boom. When those yields go up, we actually see upside, because look at the yields today. They're up, right? They're going up, so the market's going up. As you get more and more inverted, you're going to see things like this. Because we were almost uninverting yesterday, hey, we're going to see downside. So as of right now, we're just paying attention to the signals. We still could get higher lows for the Qs, paying attention to that as well, seeing if we can get an upside move going into Friday's close. For now, though, we just need to look if there's any good signals. I think Tesla's got a pretty good one. If that can just curl up on this MACD, okay, positivity can be there. That can really rotate 2-hour charts up. You see this 2 hours been beat up for a long time. So some kind of bounce from here would make some overall sense. Let me get some orders up and ready just in case. I want to look at mainly Tesla, and let me click through real quick. Amazon, not so much. I would still say NVIDIA. If that curls down, it could be brief, but as of right now, testing these lower levels. So if that is able to curl up, you can see a positive move. So I'm going to look at that one as well. Let's take a peek at the pricing of this stuff. At that level would be good. Okay, we'll pay attention to that going forward. Now we do have to be a little bit careful with these kind of downward moves. We can see structure even for NVIDIA giving us some kind of, hey, cup handle, okay, or if you wanted to, left head, right shoulder, maybe we do something like that. So even if we do curl up, we got to see it right away if that's curling back down. So that's something to pay attention to. Russell, geez, well, that is low, right? But it's relatively controlled. You're not seeing this. You're not seeing this. It's relatively a little bit more controlled. You're not breaking down completely. Like over here, we broke down. This is that similarity, though. So the SPY looking a little bit more similar there. The Qs looking a little bit more similar there. So downside is the most likely direction at this point. Love that 420 number. I don't know that we get there by Friday. I could see that if the selling continues into next week, possibly. But for us to really just shoot, well, it just depends. It actually depends a lot on is this volatility? Is the volatility really going to keep scaling up and curl up on this 2 hour? I think it depends a lot on that. And I think that will leak into tomorrow because we only have an hour and a half left in the day. So for the most part, volatility scaling up right here, most likely would have to be a reaction to the data in the morning. So I'm going to look at how stocks close today. But for the most part, I just want to see our hourlies turning over. Are they rejecting? Are we going to get 30 minutes to curl back up into positive territory? That's what I'm paying attention to. But nice little gain for me on this little down push. So I took a volatility play here, scaled in a tiny bit right here just to see if that would play out. Boom, that proved to be positive for me, so I like it. Hood's got that earnings. Thank you guys for joining me for the closing stream. Make sure to like as you do join us today. We're seeing the Dow head to lower levels as well. So the only difference here is it does look a little bit more dramatic here than over here, I would say, but this seems more just consistent. This looked like big drop, big drop, big drop, and then it fades sort of, but this is kind of just consistently down. But we can see the pattern is relatively similar here. See how it's just a little more elongated, less of like a spike down. So we're fine. We're figuring it out, but if that 2 hour curls up for volatility, we might see something bad right now. So that's why I wanted to get on, but I wanted you to know that this isn't everything is over and done, right? This doesn't mean everything is over and finished. It just means, hey, we could be grabbing some buyers. This still could be a downward trend. We have to treat it as very bad. And then if that does curl up, we have to be ready to react. Target for Hood is $14. What's Hood sitting at? $16.99. Yeah, too bad I don't play earnings. No thank you. I already have a fun play going. It doesn't want to go higher yet. It doesn't want to go higher yet. But this is how bear markets work. Everything is a almost surprise, right? Everything seems like a surprise unless you've done enough trades in a bear market like I did last time that we got this price action way back in the day. I did so much trading back then that I just really figured out, okay, we go like this, then we go like this, and now we see a bigger bounce and we see what happens. And then if we see weakness in that move, that's just going to be a lower high. I'm not paying attention too much to the Hood chart just because it's earnings. They literally could say one good thing and then the market maker uses that to just say, oh yeah, pump it. What we could do for fun is look at the max pain for Hood. I think that would be more interesting at this point. Let me go look at that. That sounds like fun. We got some time here. If it's even gonna let me. Of course it's not gonna let me. Still heading to lower levels. As of right now, we want to pay attention to our main support level. That's going to be right here. So around that level, we'll start to think about making decisions for the Qs. Around right here, we got to start to think about the SPY. But it still would make sense to go all the way down to that daily expected move as well for the SPY. Apple, if we're really going to crash right now, Apple not necessarily dictating that yet. We'll see if that's able to cross. That can really escalate things as well. All right, Hood, looks like you have a ton of calls. And by a ton, I mean, you know, for Hood, you got a bunch of calls. Max pain at 17. First call wall 18. First put wall 14.5, 12.5. All right, we got some tunes on now. Amazon going flat for the day, starting to cross down. Tesla crossing down. Bum ba da bum bum ba da bum bum. Actually, let me look at some weekly ranges too. Sorry, I'm just trying to read the market right now. 95. Could end up back down there. And 91. Ooh, that monthly expected move, someone did mention. Monthly expected move coming in on this wick right there. What did you miss? Well, just what we were talking about before the live stream ended this morning. Watching for, I was like, man, how unfortunate would it be for the SPY to curl up on a 2-hour and then cross down on a 30-minute? That would really confuse people. That's exactly what happened. And then NVIDIA was the one I was watching as a hint for that. Guess what? That did happen, and that's where I just said, "Ooh, I'm gonna let this thing run," and I just sold out of my my volatility position. I took a position on volatility, but as that thing shows like this, I would really like to see that 2-hour curl up to see major volatility, and that can cause major volatility, by the way. That can cause it, because if that starts to run up, what that's telling you is if that crosses and you're down in these areas, ooh, that algorithm can kick in and you can see some major downside. But you don't necessarily want to bet on things like that, right? That's a bet. That's like a low probable bet. What you want to do is see the signals in front of you and just say, hey, this is bad. That's the reason you want to take the trade, right? That's the reason, boom, downside can happen. And that's what you're seeing. Now you can pay attention to levels and then go, okay, if this turns back up, I know, hey, I need to get out of the downside and start to switch the other way. We might have a lower high, very close to the center line. But I'm really trying to figure this out, because like one thing you'll like to see is see if this goes down to these levels down here, I think. She's looking at me like she knew I was. She was buzzing all over me. Tesla as well, showing weakness here, giving you a point of divergence between this low. Whoop, right there. Wonder how expensive Tesla is. And what's Tesla's moves? 190-ish level for Tesla. The only scary part is if these hourlies curl over too, there could be more to do here. NVIDIA, you see that hourly turnover, so you could have a little bit more time to head down. One day you and I meet Sunday. Tesla's been moving, man. So I just need to stare at these 30 minutes. I think Tesla and NVIDIA don't look bad. If they can turn around, that is. They look horrible right now, right? We have to say they look horrible right now. But as far as it goes, bloop, bloop. Awesome. Looking at 190. Use SPY. I just want to see if anything's going down to weeklies. Trying to hold up a little bit. AMD even having, boom, big divergences there. Are we about to see a surge? Everyone's tricked out. Everyone goes to the put side. Dollar not necessarily dropping off though. So it's kind of like, hey, is there going to be a rigged move back up, or are we? Or it's kind of dependent on the data actually in the morning. Actually, I think that's something to pay attention to. Let me look at. Let me do this. I'm going to pull up charts on my other screen here, just so I have a bunch up, so we can look at a few other things at the same time. That's when you dance with the devil. Let's see, 95.79. And what is Tesla's? 190. I'm gonna pop some tags. Only got $20 in my pocket. I'm on looking for a come up. This is fucking awesome. Alrighty. You bumbling, you fucking, and you cuddling. And then NVIDIA, let's go look at that one as well real quick, just to look at which one's the best option. I don't think you want to confirm more downside here. You really don't. Candy paint with a swirl on top. Alrighty. Cool. We'll look into this throughout the day, but or throughout the end of the stream here, but looking at these, seeing it go down to lower levels. All right, what are you guys chatting about? 200 VIX looks like a springboard. It does. That's what you have to be aware of. So the position I'm taking, if I take one to the upside, is going to be a small one. But what you're looking for here is still lower high. Lower high. This is not. You gotta really think about this. SPY just dropped from the high down 2%, 2.2%. Remember the last time you saw volatility when that did happen, what happened? Ooh, big move up, right? 2.5%, big move up. We're not necessarily seeing that as much right here. We're just seeing this little, like, we're not seeing it like last time. So this is telling me that there could be a lower high setup very, very soon. So we just want to pay attention to what happens next. We always want to be aware of what's going to happen next. And we have to be aware that this is very bad. Right now, most likely does continue. But if that would just turn around, then we need to figure out, hey, what things could turn this around? Things like NVIDIA. Things like NVIDIA can do that. You're down by these lows down here, pretty much making a divergence. You see the steep move here. If that would curl up, that would be a signal to pay attention to. NVIDIA could go all the way down to 95. It could go down to 95.63 first. But I'm paying attention to Tesla and NVIDIA. Jobs data tomorrow. Remember, that's why all this started. Didn't cross. Looks like a gap filled. No, looks like it could be a bear trap, but you're not necessarily seeing a reaction in the dollar at all. Volatility, you just want to see how this is not escalating as quickly as last time. But you still have a signal to pay attention to. If this 2 hour crosses, I'd be very scared that this thing causes the market actually comes down. So, because you have the weekly range there. So if you start to drop now, it's going to get worse. But that's what I'm saying. Do they really want that to happen before the election? Probably not, right? Probably not. But we could head towards a weekly, towards a daily by the end of the day. And then we do get jobs data in the morning. So just to maybe pull that up one more time for you. The jobs data is what I'd pay attention to because that's what caused this. So this would be a narrative change. They could change the narrative by talking about initial jobless claims tomorrow. Even though it's not like a prime piece of data that people pay attention to, it is jobs data, which is why the sell-off continued. Then we get PPI, then we get things like that. That's supposed to come down. Everything's good, right? But for the most part, and then CPI next week as well. That can really cause some disturbance now. CPI during a bear market can cause some stuff. Now just watch, just watch, just watch. Right there. That's kind of high. They say they send the past 18, stuck in her daydream. Waiting for the SPY. So we'll pay attention intently here, very closely here. The Q is going to make a maybe divergence between these points, while the SPY might not make it all the way down here, but that could create a divergence at the same time. IWM coming down, maybe not making it too much of a divergence point. Let's see here. That's the low of the MACD. You're making it right now for even IWM. Oh. Big divergence on the 5-minute for volatility. Now, that's a short time frame, so just pay attention. SPY hasn't even gotten that thing to curl up at all. Nvidia hasn't got that to curl up at all. Alrighty. What you guys chatting about? Whoa, it's spiking. Hey, I took that play though. I took the play of volatility going down, took some profit, then I took volatility going up a short time ago. Remember, I took that volatility going up here, and then I scaled in again right here. Little trade, just to make that price a little bit better, just bought another contract, and boom, see that go up? Hey, made plenty of money on it, over 100%, so I'm happy with it. Done with that for now. Let's see, is it working? Well, I would say it's working. But the only difference here is we're not seeing that dollar drop off, so Interested in how the dollar is going to behave lately because of that yen. Remember what we like to do a lot of the time to head higher. Sometimes, and this is just an idea, we do break through that zone, we retest it to go back in. Right here, we break out of it, we retest it, oh, higher low. So we head back up. Now we break through, retest in it. Maybe we're able to turn back around. My ass crack. 420 would be a long shot for this week. I mean, now if volatility turns up on that 2 hour, you got it. They're very similar. You're pretty much swing trading on the monthly. Yeah, they're like almost the same thing. Yeah, don't confuse it too much, Honda. Pretty much you are swing trading on the monthly when with that investment strategy. Everyone to life and up. Oh, Apple starting to come down here. Apple adds on to it. We can see some selling really come in. Nvidia and Tesla, I like the look of these. Yeah, that's a good point. Doing these shorter time frame trades aren't for everyone. That's why in the course, or actually a lot of the time, I'll say, if you really struggle with the shorter time frames, zoom out on things. You can make plenty of money, work a regular job, and then put money into the market, and you'll be able to retire sooner than others if you make the right decisions. A lot of people who are working all the time think that the stock market is the way to make money, and they're all piling in a bunch of money at these type of levels because they're being told to. Then something bad happens and they go, ah, shoot, let me sell that, right? And then we could end up seeing some upside. So I'm just saying. All right, we're heading down here a little bit for Tesla. I don't know about that necessarily. What I'd be a little bit worried about is that data in the morning. You do have the signal with you right now, but is that going to flip soon? How long are you planning on holding it? You probably, SQQQ, that thing does decay, so it'd be hard to hold that for a long time. I don't hate it, Portugal. I think if you have a reason to take the trade, I'm never going to hate on your trade. For the most part, what I'd like to see for those calls, if you do have them for IWM, well, right now your indicator is telling you downside. So if you wanted to see upside, then you need this thing to curl back up. One, two, three, four. Crazy ass kids come and knock up on your door, so let them in. You see how bad this would be if the hourly crosses. That'd be awful. Uh-oh. Maybe that happens tomorrow morning with the data, and then you see that market turn back around, right? We just want to pay attention to the signal, but if this crosses, that's a bad sign. SPY, if that crosses, bad sign. Qs, if that crosses, bad sign. Some of them are already doing it. Nvidia already doing it. So that's a bad sign. You want to see if that 30-minute can rotate back up. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind. Long-term treasuries are not acting as a safe haven like they were on Friday and Monday. TLT is actually going down today. Maybe the lotto ticket long for Friday expiry soon. Volatility is making me nervous. Yeah, it's making you nervous, but I want to tell you that your IWM play, like I'm looking at it, I'm looking at the pricing and stuff. I mean, the only thing you need to happen here to feel better about it is just a 30-minute curl up. You'll start to feel better, right? But what I like to do is if I say went long here, maybe on the cross up over here, maybe I went long for some reason up in this area, and then I see this and I see that. That's going to convince me right here that I should no longer be in an upside play, wait for that to turn back around, and then boom, then I can see that upward move. I'll do a daily expected move for IWM tomorrow too. How about that, Paradise? Not your fault, but mine. I really want to pay attention to Nvidia and Tesla. Those look like okay ones. If they can turn around, that is. They need to turn around. Dell laid off a bunch of people. God dang, we're going to see more and more layoffs. If you thought that was scary, wait till we get above this level on unemployment or something breaks. My gosh. TLT. TLT has a great dip down. Wonder what yields are doing. Yields showing a bunch of little divergence in this. It can fall at any time. But if this is going to fall tomorrow, right, and TLT is going to go up, then that would mean that that data we get tomorrow is going to be a surprise and going to be higher than expected. And that would most likely curl up that 2 hour on volatility. So that's where it's scary. But puts are rolling in down towards the weekly expected move. Towards the weekly expected move, daily expected move. Down towards, sort of towards Nvidia's, more towards Tesla's. Tesla was pretty close here. Tesla was real close to hitting it. How'd you learn how to trade? I taught myself pretty much the whole way. I mean, I took some courses for swing trading just to understand the indicators, and then I just started watching people. Like, my friends will attest to this. I literally would watch the stock market from like 6 a.m. all the way until 8 p.m. I wouldn't advise that to anyone. I would more so say just practice. Take, like, my course is going to tell you exactly everything that I've learned. The multiple courses I have taken, I took the pieces I thought they were important. I've paid thousands of dollars for courses. Most of them ended up being squat. Most of them ended up being like one key thing helped me. And so I compiled all that and put it in a course, and am not going to charge you $2,000 for it. It's overall everything that I do in my trading is in that course in the description, the technical analysis course, the using indicators course. Yeah. But being self-taught, you have to really understand, like, I remember at first it was very difficult for me to understand managing a trade. It was very difficult for me to understand position sizing at certain times. When volatility is higher, you want to bring down that position size because you're going to see bigger moves. You're going to make plenty of money. Why risk a bunch of money when you're going to make the same amount as trading in a bull market with a swing trade? You know what I mean? So you'll start to pick up those things as you go. So I would encourage people, one thing that really helped me and I think made me a good trader was I only traded daily swing trades for a long time. Look at this swing trade for Tesla here. Boom, swing trade to the upside, great potential move. And I didn't do options, right? Because I was just starting out. So that's what I did a lot of the time when I was getting the technical side. I tried to understand this, understand these, and then look at that price action. And then take profit. That's what I did. Hey, Marina's here. What up, girl? How you doing? So we're looking for 30 minutes if they're going to cross up, but yeah, if you're trying to learn and get good over time, look at the bigger time frames. If you want to trade anything in this market right now, you can do it right now. Look at this, daily. Awesome. Be patient. You're below the 200. This is bad. But if you just do this, that's a swing trade. That's all you got to do for a swing trade. Bam. And then you start to do something like that again, right? We could see 1, 2, 3, right? We're coming down into the area we last saw a big move. So who's to say that's not going to be a big move, right? You just want to make sure that signal is happening. You don't want to bet it's happening down here. Just say, hey, okay, here, I know to invest in Tesla. Oh, that rolled over. Okay, I know to get out of Tesla. If that move does happen, Let's even take the low of the circle, 21% in maybe a month. That's great. That's fan-frickin-tastic. If you think that's not enough, 20% in a month and less than a month isn't good enough for you, then you probably need to go through some mentality there. Your mentality is, I'm trying to get rich quick. Don't try to get rich quick. The quickest way to make money in the market is the slow way. Now you just see, if you're trading the shorter time frames, maybe you've been trading for a long time and you've practiced plenty, what can you see? Divergence. Now you can learn about how to really utilize those divergences. And then say, okay, now I know to take some kind of trade. I know how to manage the trade. I know everything. Everything I need to know is right there. NVIDIA, same thing. We kind of have this flatness down here. But look at that direction of the MACD. If that just curls up, you're going to see a great move. This could all be a shakeout to get people to go to the put side. And look at this. Too many calls came in this morning. Boom. Now, you still have to be aware of things like this. You want that 30 minutes to curl down. You do not want this 2 hour to curl up. And then you have to be aware of data. There's a lot that goes into trading. I know I make it simple and you can just look at charts, but you want to keep yourself aware of what's happening the next day. Oh, I need to wake up. I need to make sure to be awake and be alive there for 7:30. Yeah, so in a bull market, all right, we'll do this real quick. Okay, so let's do this. Let's just go, actually 2 hours, fine. All right, so in a bull market, a lot of the time you'll see the trend go up, right? The trend is going up, the trend is going up, all right? So let's say I missed out on all this, I'm looking for a trade, and I know because I'm a decent trader, hey, I don't want to chase stuff, maybe I'll wait for a good setup. And then I see this dip down. Oh, and it curled up here, hey, maybe that trade was bad for a second, but then it curls up again. Okay, let's say I take that. I can put a full position into that and then see a solid bullish move, all right? So you can put plenty of money in, and sometimes the swings aren't very big, right? That's why a bull market, you can still put more money in because it's safe to say. The market most of the time goes up. That's why it's swing trading in a bull market's easier. Now, let's go zoom out for a little bit and look at a bearish market, right? A bear market. Look at this one. This one's a lot choppier, right? Look at this chop to the downside. You get these crazy pumps, crazy dumps, crazy pump, crazy dump, crazy pump, crazy dump, crazy pump, crazy dump. You see that? That's a lot harder to trade in. So there's a lot more opportunities to lose money, right? But there's also a lot of opportunities to make money. So what I want to see down here is I go, okay, a bear market, what am I looking for? Maybe I'm looking for a 2 hour divergence. And I just go, okay. Now I know that this is a downward trend, so I overall just would say, hey, maybe I'm not going to put as much money behind this trade. And then I see that come down. All right, awesome. Did it curl over on a 30-minute? Right? I would look at that. Let me just make sure we keep this where it's supposed to be. We'll just keep talking about it for a 2 hour. So overall, coming down on the position size is important because usually these type of rips, if we look at this point, look how fast this move happened. Right, so a bull market, it could take like 3 weeks for that to trickle all the way up and get to this point, right? It could take like this, it could go like this. But in a bear market, what do you see? Rips. So that tells me what? I can make a big percentage very quickly. Boom, 4.77%. In an option trade, that's gonna be fantastic, right? So in just a week, pretty much a week. That's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for moments like this right now. And that's why we're talking about right now. So let me zoom out on this, get back to where we're at. Just means position sizing on volatility, you can see bigger swings. So therefore, you can come down on that position sizing just a little bit. So when I'm seeing this signal, what am I thinking? Well, just in case we're in some kind of bear market, right? And I see a surge up like this, and then I see a reversal signal, I need to be able to be like, okay, I need to get out quickly. But then if this squeezes, I'm still in the play with plenty of money, and if it squeezes, that's awesome. We need tunes. We do need tunes. But it's just to say, when you're in a bull market, things are a little bit safer. You see a 2 hour pullback. You see a daily pullback. Okay, it goes up. Yes, exactly, Onda. So because volatility is higher, you're going to see bigger moves than what you would see when volatility is lower. So if you're seeing the same signal in a bull market as in a bear market, or in a bearish, or when volatility, let's say it this way. If you're seeing the same signal when volatility is low as when it is high in two different scenarios, The move when volatility is high will most likely be a bigger one. I haven't gotten to my million yet, unfortunately, Jay. I'm working, man. You guys can notice I take profit very quickly. I'm a slow guy. I make I have enough money. I could probably make, $10,000, $20,000 a week if I wanted to. I don't do that. I don't want to risk that. I don't want to put my family in the scenario if I'm wrong. So I just try to make little $1,500, $3,000 a week. That's what I try to do. But that's why I talk about risk, because if you guys can learn at not talking about the people who have traded for a long time, but if you can make money like that, think about it, make $200, $100 a week in trades, or maybe $200 a month in trades. Well, now by the end of the year, you'll have, $1,200 or whatever it is, $2,400 more dollars by the end of the year. Fantastic. Now you have $2,400 extra. Now the next year, maybe you're able to make $300 a week or $300 a month. Now by the end of the year, what do you have? You have $3,600 at the end of the year. You made over $5,000. You made about $6,000 in 2 years off of trading. And then once that scales up, it's kind of like why people do dividends, because you can reinvest those dividends and you slowly start to go like this. Exponential growth, right? That's why people like dividends, because you can do that. That's what you're trying to do with your trading. But trading more of the time looks like, right? Your trading can look like this. And then if you make a bad decision and say you don't manage something right, it can look like that. You don't want it to look like that. So do it the slow way. Because if you do experience that, then, well, if I only use 10% of my account, then I'm still at 90% of my account. And I can still try again and try to get better. Okay, what I really want to pay attention to are NVIDIA and I think Tesla, honestly. I think these two are the ones that are telling you something. If they're going to tell you one thing, it's got to be NVIDIA right now. Still seeing a high level there. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. Trust me, I would sing my little heart out if I wouldn't get demonetized. Let's look at that IWM play for you again. Look at that. It's seeing some green. If that's just turns up above these moving averages, I want you to feel just a little bit better. And then from here on, if this crosses up, I want whoever did take this IWM trade, sorry, I'm blanking on the name. But what I wanted to say here is, if this is a moment where you did not manage the trade, and you're still in something like this to the upside, okay, then if this crosses, I want you to say to yourself out loud, write it down on a piece of paper even. That's what I did. I wrote down what I was going to do when things happen. That's actually what I used to do. I had a whiteboard and I used to write out what I was going to do if certain things happen. Okay, if this goes like that, you can feel good again if this crosses. That's awesome, positive territory. But I want you to write down, I am going to manage this trade. If it curls down, not if it goes like this and curls down, right? Even if it does that, you can get out and get back in, right? But if it does this and curls back down, I want you to say, I am going to manage this trade. Just say, I am going to manage this trade. Write it down. We are worth 10 mil, easy. It was, yeah, Paradise, that's who it was, Paradise. So yeah, what you want to do is just say, I'm going to manage this trade. If it's a shorter time frame, I don't know what time frame you're on or anything like that, but based on whatever time frame you're on, I do go over the time frames and how I manage certain time frames in the course down in the description. So I'm just saying, I really want to encourage, since most people in here I assume are retail, I really want to encourage us to start to take trading as with care, with a little bit of care. Enjoy the wins, enjoy the losses, because if you're managing the trade, you should enjoy the losses and be like, hey, I was right, I didn't lose all my money in the trade. All I do is manage my losing trades. Well, then you have to look at what mistakes you're making. There has to be something else in there. But hopefully you're joking, Kyle. Maybe I do need to do, man, I know we talked about one-on-ones, but Ari keeps us so busy. I know we talked about one-on-ones for like $100 an hour or something like that, but just to figure out what's really going wrong. I think that would be good. We'll think about it still. I just got to see. My time is still so crazy. I'm trying to get YouTube to the point where I can quit one other thing and then I can have some time freed up. You get out too early, what's your mentality? When you take profit and you get out too early, did you make money? Did your account look better after the trade? Hey, I could have done that too. Do you know how much money I could have made? So I made 400% on volatility on this drop, right? Where was it? SPY. I took volatility. So on this drop right here, I think it was here. Yeah, it was here. On this drop right here, I made 400%. Do you know how much I could have made right here? Do you know how much I could have made right there? 4,000. I could have made 4,000% right here. Because my position was so good, I could have made 4,000%. Now, do I want to be negative or positive? Do I want to put my mind when I'm trading in a negative state or a positive state? In a negative flow or a positive flow? I want to be positive about my trading all the time and feel like I'm in control the entire time. I want to be in control the whole time. So what I say to myself here, I go, damn, I could have made 4,000%. What did I do wrong? Nothing. The 30-minute crossed up. I managed the trade. I took my 400%. That's it. And now let's look at it another way. Positive or negative? Negative would be, oh, I could have made 4,000%. Positive would be, I could have made 4,000%, but at least I made 400%. That's a great trade. This easily right here could have went like that, and I would have been right. I ended up being a little off. And I look back and I go, well, all the signals said it was going to bounce, so I was being a good trader here. Careful is always good. Do not let it... It's kind of like this, okay? I'll use an analogy for you. Chris, I'll use an analogy for you. So I just started recently getting into firearms. I'm having a great time with it. And I was worried for a long time. Joe, thank you so much for subscribing. I was having a hard time because I'm getting to the point where I want to carry. But I'm sitting there and I'm worrying and worrying. I'm like, man, I want to make sure that I'm not going to hurt anyone. I want to make sure I'm not going to hurt myself. I don't want to be a liability. I'm like making sure, okay, is the gun in a safe place? Is this? I'm always thinking about the safety of my gun. So here's what I started to think about. The people who I started to see on the internet making all of the mistakes with a gun, aka shooting themselves in the foot or accidentally pointing it at someone and things like that. I'm thinking about those things all the time. The type of person who is going to actually have the mistake is the person who is not thinking about those things all the time. So if I was not thinking about managing the trade here, if I was not thinking about taking profit at this level here, and this stock went like this, I shot myself in the foot, right? So the fact that I'm one of the people that is thinking of safety all the time, I am immediately aware that I am probably one of the least likely people to have something go wrong because I'm thinking about it all the time. So if you're thinking about your risk at the right times and you know what signals are risky for your trade, you know what signals are risky for your short in this area. You know what signal right now is risky for your short in this area. What is risky for that? This 30-minute turns up. That's the risky thing. If you're aware of that and you react to that, you're probably one of the few people who actually can manage trades correctly. So I'm trying to encourage that type of behavior. That's all I'm trying to do. Also up here, it seems like you make money trading instead of housing subs for donations. You should check out Benzinga 9 a.m. crew too. I might do that. So I don't really want to predict. I want to more react to the... A great analogy. I used to do that a lot. Shoot myself when I could have took profit. Exactly. Never beat yourself up for taking profit. If you make money at the end of the day, be happy about it. You know what one thing I did, and I'm going to tell you this right now, Chris, because this is very serious. Because I always heard trading was very, very difficult. Technical trading doesn't work and all this stuff. And then I became a serious technical trader. And then I started to get wins. And the losses, sometimes you experience losses. That's part of trading. Right? But at the beginning stages, usually your losses can be actually more of a percentage because you don't know things like managing the trade. But what I'm getting at here is something I did very early on that really helped me stay in that positive state. It's going to sound so silly. I would make a trade. I would make a good trade. I would take profit on that trade. Do you know what I started to do? One weird thing I started to do, and this is when me and my brother lived together, I would take profit. I would immediately go up to my brother and randomly give him a high five for no reason. I would just be smiling, be happy, and give him a high five. And then he'd be like, what happened? I'd be like, hey, had a good day. He'd be like, awesome. He's like, you make a good trade? I go, yeah. And then he'd probably high five me again. Getting that physical, like, yes moment was very, very good for my mentality. And so another thing I would say is if you don't have that person around, do you know what I did when my brother wasn't home? When my brother was not home and I would make a good trade based on good decisions, not based on random bets, good decisions. Because on those ones I go, woo, I got lucky. No, I did not punch him when I lost. No, I did not. When I lost, I immediately started to think, what did I do wrong? It's my fault. That's what I always think. Now, what I did when he wasn't home, and this is going to sound cringe, but I did it. If I made a good trade and my brother wasn't home, I would go in the bathroom, I'd look at myself in the mirror and be like, you did good today. And then I'd high five the mirror. I'd high five myself. And I know it sounds cringe, but it works. It literally causes you to get that outward feeling of like, yes, I did it. I made a good decision. This is something that's hard to do. It's hard to see which way it's going. It's hard to manage trades. I would encourage you to high five yourself if you manage a trade correctly. Just being honest. That's what I did. And it's something I did at an early time. I don't do it as much because now I have my wife. I get to go brag to her, you know, but thank baby Jesus. Yeah, have a little baby Jesus and give him a little prayer every time that you do a good trade. Gratitude's what you want to experience there. You want to be like, yes, be grateful for the good trade. Go high five yourself. Congratulate yourself. It's kind of like the reward thing, right? It's like that thing in psychology, the positive reinforcement. So if you do something positive, you have to do something positive. So a lot of the time on my best trades, when I would make $7,000 in a week, I would go out by myself and I would go get a big ass bowl of pho. And I'd get egg rolls, I'd get pho, I'd get a banh mi. I'd be like, damn, I did good. I'd treat myself. Yeah, Tammy, thank you for that. I do read a lot of psychology. It's one of my hobbies. My teachers in high school wanted me to become a psychologist. And then she, the one that was really pushing it, she unfortunately passed away. But at least at the end of the day, I think I'm in the right place at the right time. I'm with you guys. And look at this. We're seeing some bouncing. So we'll see what happens with the data in the morning. A lot can change, but NVIDIA, Tesla, things are starting to bounce. So don't think the world is burning like they're telling you. Any thoughts on Rivian to the downside, now that we're done with that? Sometimes I'd pet my dog. My dog was always excited. Sometimes I'd be like, you want to go on a walk? Because he gets all excited. Thank God he didn't react to that, because he would. Any thoughts on Rivian on the downside? I think of putting a put this week. Okay, so one thing you need to know about this before, Julius, I want to teach you something here, okay? So what we see here is divergence, and this is weakening in momentum to the downside. So that means the downside means the stock is going down. And eventually, when the stock goes down and it hits a point where buyers step in, you start to get weakness. The downside stops going down as far. And then you can start to scoot back up. So what is happening in front of us here for Rivian? And what I want you to do is less about looking at these things, right? More just pay attention to this low. Put your mouse on it. Look at the low point of that. Where is that? Okay, we'll say this bar right here. Okay, so we know the low is here. Now we'll look at where the stock is now. Now let's just say for example's sake, if this curled up, okay? If this is gonna curl up, well, if this is that point of the low, then I mark that off. Now, where is my MACD pointing towards? If I connected these two levels, right? It's pointing up. Now, is this different from what I'm seeing in the price action? Yes, that is divergence. That is a sign that momentum is weakening. Okay? So that means momentum might be weakening, but I only know that momentum has fully weakened once this starts to cross back up. Now, when that does cross back up, how close are you to going into a positive trend? Very close in this scenario. So weirdly enough, Rivian, if this saw positivity, it's not seeing it yet. If that saw positivity like this, you can start to see that go into a positive trend, right? Positive trend means we go like this. All right? So the time for actually doing say a put, right? This wouldn't be the best scenario on a 30 minutes to look for that. Let's go look at an area where we would look for something to the downside. Let's see if there's something on the daily scale. Okay, so some people do this, but overall, maybe we'll do a 2 hour. Actually, let's do a 2 hour. Let's see if something's up here. Okay, awesome. We do have it. Okay. So as you can see up here, we came about flat to pretty much flat here for the MACD. So that is flat. Now let's look at the price action here. The closing of this bar was here. The closing of this bar is here. Is there a difference? I'd say there's a pretty good difference there. I'd say that's pretty flat. Okay, awesome. So I know that there's some weakness in momentum here. So when my MACD confirms that, I know that I'm slightly right. All right here. Now I could say this is on a 2 hour scale. So maybe I want to do this out for a month or two. Now, if I took a 2 month output, maybe down towards $16 or something like that, and I put that position here, well, a lot of things happen since then, but over time, we end up below $16. That is when you more so want to look for weakness, is when you see that to the upside. Right now, you're seeing it on a short time frame to the downside, and you're oversold on the daily. It doesn't mean you can't head down further. This hasn't crossed up yet. But does it mean I want to chase a position right now? No. More so, look at where this is. It's already oversold. If this did bounce, that might bounce with some steam behind it, so that might hurt you. It might bounce up to this level. We might go like this. So that's all we're doing here. We're looking for moments to pay attention. This is saying this is bad right now, but the time for this is not good on a 30-minute because of the behavior of the stock, that major gap down. This was not a good trade setup for even a swing trade down. It really wasn't. But what more so would be the good trade is if you see Rivian curl up like this, we can start to curl up 2 hours. Oh, what about the 2 hour? Ooh, kind of flat there on the MACD. Maybe it sees a bounce up towards that center line. Maybe we go react up towards 1534. I hope that all this is very helpful. I'm trying to be as helpful as possible today. Really am, especially at this closing stream. I really want to have some fun with it. I want you guys to be asking questions. I think these are great. So Rivian, me personally, based on the signals, the daily is oversold, the 2 hours oversold, the 30 minutes oversold. Just based on that alone, I'm not chasing it. That is just what I would do. That's what your momentum signals are telling you. Doesn't mean it can't go lower. It means I'm going to have good habits as a trader. Check out the Mo. I'll make it right. I'll make it right. You do you, Joe. You do you, Joe. Just know you get data in the morning, and that is expected to come down in jobless claims. Which kind of means that you actually could see TLT run, but... Okay, what was I looking at? Mo. So Mo here on the 30-minute, not really seeing too much. What I'd like to see is, cup and handle would be nice here, but this might have violated that. Okay, so if that violates that, all right, then we're most likely not going to see it. But what you're more looking at here is you built back up into a positive trend. That's fantastic. You're still positive here. So if this curls up at any time, we never even got overbought. You have the RSI above the center line. You have the price action getting above a lot of the moving average, but you just have the 9 left. You do something like that, you curl up, positive territory, positive move. Right? So, but we could still overall be in a pullback to go lower, so you want to wait for that signal to confirm. Now let's look at a bigger time frame. 2 hour, we have a bunch of wonkiness here. So this is not a stock that has a good look for me to take a trade setup. But what you could say is, right there, that's what I'd be looking at. All right, if I see a strong move, if I see a breakout to here, hey, I can play a breakout. That's what I would say for Mo. But is it the best trade setup in the world? I wouldn't say so. You had a bunch of divergence up here that's leading to the downturn. So I have to see if that 30-minute rolls down. 2 hour rolls down here, you have more potential to break to the downside. Just not the best look. Sometimes you run into those. It means I got to be patient. You're welcome, Loxley. Long Palantir. Palantir is a good company. Yes, I can't hate on that. What I want to see here though is right now you're in a pullback. So is a pullback the time where I should be saying, oh yeah, it's going to go long? Or should I be like, okay, a pullback that has just ended and momentum has confirmed that? That is more when I'm paying attention for the upside. Let's just look back here. Mm, 30 minutes are rough, but actually let's take a dramatic one. So do I want to take, I say, oh, Palantir is a great stock. This is pulling down. Okay, it's crossed over for a little bit. Maybe that's going to bounce up. Do I want to take that here? Well, nothing's confirmed for me. What about right here? Something has confirmed for you. And then upside. And then you see that pull back and you go, okay, let me manage the trade. And then we break to the upside again and you go, okay, awesome. And then over time, you just head up. Right, keeping it simple. So right now, you're just in pullback mode. You're in pullback mode. Which just means this is bad, right? This is a pullback. But if I see that cross back up, that could mean potential upside. It goes in and out, Luke. So Luke, it goes in and out, and we can look at NEO in just 1 second, Joe. TLT does go in and out. You'll see times where they're correlated. You'll see times where they're not. One of the things that I like to tell people is if you want to see the environment we're in now, look at what HYG is doing. See if that thing is still up. That thing didn't dip down very low. TLT dipped down low. That's because those yields are going up. But more so what you want to pay attention to, I like high yield growth. This is like junk bonds. This is like, I guess you would say the smart money, I guess. But junk bonds, so what you want to see here is positivity happened. What'd the SPY do? The SPY did the same thing. All right, now the SPY is doing something different now. It's going like this, right? It's kind of going like this. So this is holding up a bit better. If that's able to curl back up, yeah, you could just follow it. But they will go in times where they're contradicting and times where they are more correlated. Till end of August. Thank you. I'm gonna look at NEO now. I just got brought some lunchies. Beautiful, 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 beautiful angel. All right, NEO. What are we seeing here? What do you guys see right away? Uh-oh. Interesting. That looks a little different than the MACD, doesn't it? That looks a little bit different than the RSI, doesn't it? Interesting. Does this mean that momentum to the downside might be dying out? Does that mean I'm getting closer to that center line to going into a positive trend? I think it does, right? Yeah, Luke, I want to see. Maybe I'll find a video for you, but there's someone that explained it very well, and they just said to pay attention to the environment you're in. So you more have to pay attention to the environment and if they're correlated. But they can go in and out of correlation. Usually it's like if bonds are dropping off dramatically in a time of inflation, that's just the yield going up, and you actually can see stocks go up. There's a bunch to it. Keeping things simple. Just look at this kind of stuff here. Triple divergence here for the MACD down here, for the RSI down here. You see the downward pressure, but upward on my momentum. So if this curls up, you have potential for a good move. You have potential to go into a positive trend. And that means positive things for the stock. Now let's look at the 2 hour. That thing is really, really deep. So this is something to take into consideration on 30-minute trades. Look at where that 2 hour is. If this 2 hour sees a good bounce, What is stopping that from going to make a divergence, right? What's stopping that from happening? Nothing. So I want to pay attention to this move and see if there's weakness in that move as well. Yeah, buying that's something I think Joe just said it, but waiting for these things to actually confirm is some of the hardest part because people want to find the exact low and they want to make 500%. Every once in a while, a trade will make you great money. But for now, you just want to say, how much am I trying to make in this move? Okay, I'm going to put $1,000 behind this. I want to make 300. Okay, that crosses up. We go like that. I make 350. I go, awesome. I'm done. But actually, that move would probably make you like 100% if that happened that fast. Yeah, I like the triple divergence here, but it hasn't confirmed. That's the only thing. Volatility, seeing if that can roll over. Forever. Let's make this last forever. Now we're on a 5-minute. So look, we can even look at a 5-minute. We can use all the same principles. What's happening on the 5-minute here? Well, we're consolidating. Look like another move can go higher, but where are we? We're negative. So if that rolls over at any time, we can see more weakness. I think a lot's dependent on the data tomorrow. Okay, that's good. So you have your things in order to take the trade. That's awesome. We call it the 3 to 5 reasons to take a trade in my courses. Well, course. Usually with swing trading, you only have 3 things you're really looking for. But as far as the technicals, how to trade in any market, technical indicators, using those, that course, $100. It literally tells you the 3 to 5 things that I normally look for. But you can always add to that list if you think it's a good reason. It's got to be a good reason, though. Is this already done? Have I been streaming that long that my music's done? And people dragging their wagons. Yeah, let's play some hardcore stuff for the end of the day. All right, I'm gonna eat a little bit and just watch this for a sec. You guys can even ask a question, but I just can't. I'm gonna eat some. Oh, really, Joe? I think a video will give us a good enough look at the call before the bell. What I would say is tomorrow's data can cause a lot to happen. Okay, so for me, myself, what I'm looking at for NVIDIA and Tesla is a good price on a contract or so, a couple contracts, just to be in the move in case. But an amount that's very small. I'm talking like data tomorrow. I'm talking like, again, under $1,000 for each trade. For me, that's smaller. That's not even a full position. So more so, it's like if I get in on this early, I have to know data's coming out tomorrow and just note that, hey, I could be ruined by that. So I don't want to ruin my account. I can ruin $1,000 and not be that upset about it. But what I'll most likely do is just do like a couple contracts, like 3 weeks out. Julius, I think you would be, I think most people who are new, I always say swing trading's obviously a little bit easier, but I think the new course, or the how to trade in any market course, the technical analysis course, is very, very easy to learn. I have my wife, she's never looked at stocks before ever. I had her take some portions of it. She was able to understand it right away. So yeah, I'm thinking about just buying like a contract or two to be in the move in case something squeeze happens. But yeah, Julie, I think if you got a good head, you got a good attitude towards learning, I think you could do it. But if you don't want to risk it, you want to just learn how to swing trade first. I respect that. That's perfectly fine. But it's very, it's still very beginner friendly. So I'll probably put like maybe 400, 500 bucks behind Tesla and NVIDIA each. I just have to decide in the next 25 minutes. There are earnings and stuff still, right? So, you know what I want? I want a Coke so bad. I don't know why I'm craving it. Sometimes I get lucky and my wife buys some. And she went to the grocery store yesterday, so I'm gonna go check real quick. So you gotta give me 2 minutes here. Sorry, I forgot I went to Fuzzy's. And I have a pop from there. Because I didn't drink all my pop, so I left it in the fridge. So I get a Dr. Pepper instead. I'm even more excited. I gotta take these headphones off. Headphones are dead. I gotta write down to charge those. Well, market makers are gonna need all the money they can get if this AMC and GME thing continues, so we'll see. Remember, I'm just trying to eat my lunch a little bit, kind of a late lunch. Let's look at the SPY. Let's see if we see anything crazy here by the end of the day. Pretty cool though. We went up to that daily expected move, faded from there. That was the most likely thing to happen. 68% zone right there. That's why we put that on Patreon. More blood for now. We'll see if this 30-minute can cross up. Looks like it's not going to cross today, so it'll be dependent on that data, 7:30 a.m. and an hour before the open. Depending what time zone you're in, it's an hour before the open regardless. I thought the title of, well, that escalated quickly. Some Ron Burgundy for you, you know? Me, I'm like, hey, there's an opportunity. If I lose a little bit, that's fine. If I make like 500 bucks, I'm happy. Nothing too crazy to do there. Oh, sorry. I just hit the mic, my bad. The thing about Hood and the thing about earnings, it's always a 50-50 flip. It looks ugly here, right? This looks just not good. Daily side beat up, coming down to the 200. Like, what is expected? Okay, only 0.156. Okay, 640 mil. So if they beat that in any way, don't talk about anything bad. You can see some upside. But more so, it's like, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to take a play on any earnings, I'm going to downsize the position. Especially, volatility is high too. So not only do you have earnings, but you have volatility higher while you have earnings for Hood here. So that tells you that a big move can come, right? So it makes you think, oh, I can make a lot of money. But it also, you're kind of ignoring the fact you could lose a lot of money, right? It's a two-way street. So I like to downsize the position. That way I'm like, okay, what amount of money am I 100% comfortable with losing? And what amount of money would still make me enough that I would like it? Okay, maybe 500 bucks, say something like that. Be like, okay, if I lose 500, it's not gonna kill me. It's not gonna be bad. But if it sees that direction and we see a big move, hey, maybe I could make 500, 1,000, 100, 200%. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I'm not playing this one. I already did my fun trade buy for like a couple $100. See if this thing will turn up in the next couple weeks. Sorry, that was way too zoomed in. My bad. Num 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 num. Oh, yeah, that's not a bad way to do it, Jay. I kind of like that. Nice, Vital. You're using something that's helping out. You're thinking? I like it. I like to hear it. Whoa. Aditya? Thank you for subscribing. I didn't even see that. My bad. So yeah, this is like really dependent on the data tomorrow, I think. Jobs data, the narrative of the data, probably how people are positioned, right? Will the market maker algorithm want the market to go up? Well, for now, I'd say yeah. A lot of put side stuff. Hasn't crossed over though. You're right, George. You got to be aware of that geopolitical stuff. But just another reason, managing the trade through position size. When you see geopolitical stuff and you're seeing contradictory things, and hey, this could just curl up with some good data. Okay, like we get it. And then also, if something bad would happen, hey, we're in a time where we could see like 10 different bad things over the next few months. We've already had the Biden-Trump debate. Then we had Trump almost getting assassinated. Then we had Biden dropping. Now we have Kamala in. Then you have like some attack on Hamas again that causes Iran to then react. It's just like, holy crap, we're going through a ton of stuff. So I think you could see like 10 different events keep unfolding. We've already gone through like 5. We're seeing a ton of stuff. Yeah, I think it'll chill out. I think it will chill out. But I also think there's potential for more bad things before the election. And then if it doesn't happen before the election and say like Trump wins, I think awful things will start to happen. Like I'm just saying, I think Trump is who I'll be voting for, but at the same time, if he gets in, I think a lot of powerful people will not be happy about that. We could have some civil unrest. It could get a little bit scary. So that's just why I'm making sure to learn how to be safe with my guns and learn how to shoot well, just in case something awful were to happen. I really hope it doesn't. I want to be clear about that. You guys know, whenever we talk about politics, I always end it with like, I just don't want people to die. that's kind of how I am. Yeah, that's kind of how it works, Josh. You got to pull back before you can go higher. Sometimes you got to crash before you can go higher. It's just like the stock market. I don't think so. They actually were asked about that, Steve. They were asked about that recently. They're not even thinking about moving their stuff out of the White House. No bad things happen around election time. All right, how are we going to end today? What do you guys think? Actually, what do we think about tomorrow? Okay, let's do this. Tomorrow, green day or red day? Green day or red day for tomorrow? What is your thoughts on this pullback if data is good? Well, what are you talking about, Andrew? Do you mean like pullback as in what we've experienced on like the daily scale? Because if you're talking about the daily scale, pretty much if the data is good tomorrow and this turns up, you do have potential to start to curl up this daily and see the swing trade. That's just facts. Now, one thing that's also possible, whether you're talking about that time frame or not, is if the 2 hour, let's say we do an ABC move like this, and then the 2 hour gives it up because we need to make a stronger base, something bad happens, there's a lot going on. So there's a lot of things that can happen. It kind of depends on how strong, if we do bounce here, right? If the data is good tomorrow and that causes something, is that going to squeeze and curl up that daily chart, or are we going to experience some form of weakness here and then start to drop down again? Thank you, Banana Sam. I appreciate that. I hope you like it. For some reason, I keep thinking to myself, I'm like, if you guys didn't know, the swing trading course, I remade those videos like 3 times because I was just like, I felt like I wasn't explaining it the best I could. And then I had 3 copies of almost the same video. And I was like, man, I'm just not feeling like I'm doing well. So I'm thankful that a few people have taken it and they've said the swing trading course is good. So that's the only thing. I really want to make sure it's good for you guys. That's why I worked pretty hard on it. That's why I made it cheap too, because it's swing trading. I know jobless claims is what we were looking for, Solarific. I think tomorrow I think a piece of jobs data after crashing because of jobs data, that's probably what we need to pay attention to. Okay, initially up, then fall off, green, Friday, green day. So you think by Friday will be green? Can't see how jobs data would be any different to last week. It's just the estimates are a little bit different. The estimates are a little bit lower. And also we know that, you know, sometimes you can fudge numbers. You can't really fudge unemployment too much, but you can fudge in initial jobless claims. No, people aren't losing their jobs. Revise the data in a month. Revise the data in a month. And that's actually why a lot of this selling came in too. You guys know that with that unemployment data were a ton of revisions of previous data, right? And all of it said that unemployment was going up. Unemployment's harder to fudge. Just saying. They say, we fine, then it crashes. Bull trap, is it coming in soon? This was definitely a trap up there. Good thing we have daily expected moves, right? So we're at least aware of it to a point. Hi, Claudio, how you doing? Sometimes I want to say Cortana, but that's because I played Halo as a kid. Well, and a little bit as an adult. God, I miss LAN parties. Picked up the new course. How'd you like it? I want to make sure it's good, Claudio. Okay, so you think Nvidia goes below 100, and we end up red. Okay. Okay. We're not seeing that curl up just yet, so I just have those couple of contracts in case something good happens. Also, with those contracts, those are like 3 weeks out. Okay, awesome, Claudio. Thank you for grabbing that. Make sure to let me know. But yeah, so what we want to see here, and just so you guys are aware, the position size small, and then at the same time, I know that I'm taking this before the signal. I just don't want to see if there's like a gap up or something. But for the most part, what I'm also doing here is getting one 3 weeks out. So if I do see that drop in the morning because of that data, I can quickly manage the trade, right? And then if that turns back around, I can be in it as well. So just thinking about it, pretty smart for myself. And then what I'll do is I'll probably write down some notes and write out a plan. Write out a plan if it's good and a plan if it's bad. That's facts, Caleb. And someone already is saying they're doing that. They're saying with like hood earnings, they're kind of playing both sides, leaning more towards one. Yeah, I think so. I think even George came in here, David, and mentioned something about Iran and some bombing or something. Index is selling now. Hold on one sec. There was something I was going to look at just now. Shoot, what was I looking at? I thought I was looking at something, but NVIDIA, looking at Tesla as well. Still holding that level, right? We still need these things to confirm, but straight rain. Ah, god dang it, my Tesla calls are down 0.99. 0.99%. Almost 1%. Sell it all. Tesla, I love the look of it, by the way, Claudio. I love this look. I do like it, right? You see the buyers step in back here. That's fantastic. So you know there's buyers in like towards there. They do not want the stock to fall. Okay, then we make a divergence point. Very, very steep. So if the news is good tomorrow, if we get some good news, that can be great. The only thing I need to be aware of with my positive trades here is volatility. Is the 2 hour. Sorry, not the 1 hour, the 2 hour. Is the 2 hour gonna cross? Look how close that is. So whoever said, you know, hey, just in case for tomorrow, might want to hedge a little bit. Yeah, that's a good idea. Claudio, me too. Actually, mine are down 1.5% now. I'm down worse than you. Shoot. Yeah, you can use that one. Tesla more is about the Tesla and NVIDIA more is about the technical analysis course, the how to trade in any market course, the $100 course down there, 90% off. But yeah, that'll teach you more of this type of look. NVIDIA to 98? That would be crazy. I'm down. Cool. Let's do it. I'm freaking down, dude. I'm freaking down like a clown from Browntown, you know what I'm saying? Holiday Hooba Waddy. You haven't been this bearish since COVID shutdowns. And we're only down 10%, but we're reaching COVID levels of volatility while not experiencing the overall dramatics. Now, that did shoot down like over 4 weeks. I think it took about 4 weeks. I mean, if Buffett was buying, when did he exactly sell? There's no way like people probably just figured out he sold. But when exactly did he sell all that Apple? Well, for things I'm out here. Thanks for your hospitality. Hope to see you again soon. Good luck to you. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you. Yeah, we're live every single morning, and we try to do a lot of closing streams now too. But thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. And thank you for subscribing. You sold before Apple ripped up 30%. Man, that's got to feel bad too. Talk about if you were bummed on missing a trade setup, you know? Damn, that would suck. You have $1 billion in a week. You could have $1.3 billion, and you're like, no, I'm selling. Fudge. Tesla dropped to 191, going towards the weekly expected move at this point. You're about $1 off from the weekly expected move here. Nvidia going down, going down. It can go as far as like 95.63 down in that area. The biggest regret trade was still Zillow to this day. To this day, Zillow was one. Now, one of my biggest regret trades was AMC not too long ago. AMC, I think I originally put like $1,000 behind a call option, and that thing pumped. I think I could have turned 1,000 into like 6,000 in like just a few days. And then the short sellers, they took out a baseball bat and they hit me. All right, guys, couple minutes left here. Better decisions from here on out. Everyone, we got this. Caleb, we got this. Now, not doing the big position, waiting to see if these things can turn around. Let's go look at the SPY and the Qs for the end of the day, going down towards the weekly expected move. On a Wednesday, we got 2 days worth of price action left. We really got to see here, though. 2 hours starting to curl over. That's a little bit worrisome. We got Qs 2 hour not fully curled over yet, not really going down towards the weekly expected move just yet. We're going to give you those daily expected moves. The thing about tonight, guys, I just want to make sure that my energy levels are good for tomorrow, so I most likely will not be putting out a YouTube video tonight. Most likely just spending time with family, because I dedicated a lot of time to streaming today, and I just want to make sure to give them some of my time, because my wife was kind of mad at me for getting back on here, but that's okay. She knows I got to do what I got to do. At this point, though, most likely not going to put out a YouTube video just yet, because most of this, I think, will be reaction to the data or reaction to Iran, and I don't want to say something and then Iran does something and then we market crash, and then I don't want to say something and then we get a weird piece of data and something else happens. So what I more so want you to pay attention to are your MACD, your indicators as of right now. As of right now, the 30-minute is pointing down. The most likelihood is to go down, and then we can notice that if this does curl up, we can see a solid move. So we'll pay attention if that can go positive, right? We're just going to give a little bit of a breakdown here, since we're most likely not putting out a YouTube video tonight. So if this is able to curl up into positive territory, what would that mean? Hey, positive trend can be there. We can test this high, go make a new one, all right? Qs, similar story, right? This curls up, goes into positive territory. What can happen? We can test this high, go make a new one. All right, so there's a lot of things going on here. I think a lot of it is going to be dependent on the data tomorrow. Notice this about Apple. If we're really crashing down, well, Apple's holding on pretty strong here, actually. But if we get a bad piece of data, bad things happen, boom, we can get Apple to drop off. Someone tell me what Hood's doing, by the way. Yes, it can, Caleb. Actually, that is my most frustrating trades. When I was a fundamental trader, I did a ton of research, just like Warren Buffett told me to. I looked at the numbers, the books looked good, and then the company was freaking fraudulent, and they took all my money. When I was like 20 years old, I was like, oh, I have $8,000 from working. Let me put that into a stock, and then gone in like 6 months. It was literally like the South Park scene. It was really frustrating. That is my most pissed off trade I've ever had, because everything looked good and the numbers were all fraudulent, and then the company went to zero like the next day, and I was like, sick, thanks. Anyway, Apple though curls down on the, you get initial jobless claims tomorrow. So not a huge piece of data, but as the market was affected by jobs data, unemployment data, I believe initial jobless claims could be important tomorrow morning. So we want to pay attention to here, Apple turning down on that 30-minute. That's what we do not want to happen. You want bullishness, you got to reject Bearish sign, hey, that 30-minute curls down for Apple. Tesla is one that I do like the look of it right now, but it keeps going down. It's not really turning back up. So once this actually crosses, that's your confirmation of this. And just note the lagging indicator, you have volatility a little bit higher, so the move here can be a little bit bigger. So waiting for confirmation is a good move in my opinion. Amazon, this one here, what's it doing? Well, it went up for a while, went close to that center line, we curled down, and guess where it is? It's right by that center line. So if it wants to see positivity tomorrow, all you got to do, bloop, just go like that. Tiny little thing here. So don't sleep on these things, because if you see this cross up, you can see some big moves. We can go into a positive trend. All right, so we'll pay attention to that. And then we got to pay attention to this move next, and we'll talk about that tomorrow as we are live tomorrow morning. NVIDIA is another one I kind of like the look of, but it's just like Tesla. It just keeps on dropping down. It looks like they have almost the same algorithm treating them right now, but you can see that that just keeps going down, curled over negative territory. We should expect this to be bad until it turns around. Then it can be good, right? Oh, this is awful, but if it did that, I'm ready to react, because that is weakness in momentum. So I'd pay attention to that for NVIDIA, going down towards a weekly expected move. Tesla as well, going down towards a weekly expected move, just barely above it. Okay, so we'll pay attention to that. AM Dizzle, kind of getting rid of a lot of the 30-minute signals here. All I think about AMD lately is, wow, this thing sucks. Like, this one really has sucked for a long time. We pull it out to the daily scale, you'll just notice this one's below the 200. It has really been beat up for a very long time. Even with the upside here, hey, it's still been beat up a lot. So this is an area where you could bounce from, but for the most part, you're below the 200. I would more so be liking to get above that before I'm like, oh, this thing could see a new all-time high or something. I just do not like AMD right now, even though the 2-hour does show you some signals trying to get closer to the center line. You notice that it just keeps like hovering and going down. So even the 30-minute signals don't look the best. So for now, I would just say, hey, if this can actually curl above some moving averages, maybe break above this level, start to close up here, then I'd probably be a little happier with the stock. Meta, this one here, curling over on the 2-hour, that's a big deal. That means that the 2-hour could experience a pullback. Let's look at the opposite side of that. The 30-minute is down by the center line. So 2-hour curls down fully. You get a big confirmation tomorrow morning. Hey, that's bad. If the 30-minute curls up at any time, though, look where it is, right by that center line. Positive trend can continue. As far as AMC and GME goes, that's bad, right? It's kind of behaving like some of the stocks in the market where they see that move up from the bottom and then they curl back down. So they have curled back down. Now you're seeing if that can curl back up into positive territory. That's the signal you're looking for. But right now, the 30-minute is curled down, meaning downside is still the most potential move. 2-hour was able to do that as well. So 2-hour is saying the same thing. Unfortunately for AMC, what you really want to see from AMC still, and I'll say it again, is that confirming bar above the 200, close above the 200. Every single time the short sellers are stepping in is right above that 200. Okay, so now that we're really tight in here, we're really close to it, wait and see if that reaction happens. Same thing kind of goes for GME, just looking a little bit more negative here for GME. Above the 200 though, so it just crosses above the smaller moving averages, you're good to go. 2-hour, curled up. If that curls down, bad things, right? More bad things to come. That's how I would overall treat it at this point. The 30-minute here for GameStop looking pretty similar to AMC overall, right? We see the big bottom and then nice big bottom. We see that big bottom and then we pull back for a moment. We try to curl back up. That's more the signal you're looking for right now. It still is saying it's going to pull back, but if that can cross up, you can see a move and then we'll get these levels updated for you over the weekend. But right now for this week, 23.39, you want to see something crazy, you want to see a squeeze, got to get above 23.39 and hold up there. So I'm nibbling on Tesla, I'm just doing that. I'm not using a big amount of money. I'm using literally less than $1,000 between NVIDIA and Tesla just to get in positions at low levels. And then if I see confirmations tomorrow, I can add to those positions. So that's my overall thought process going into tomorrow. Maybe have I also do have, I still have a couple contracts for volatility. That way, if some kind of big drop does happen, I kind of have that hedged just a little bit. So that's kind of how I'm playing it. If I see volatility drop dramatically, well, I don't have too much in volatility anymore. I've already made profit on that overall over the past like week and a half. I've made profit on volatility almost every time. Pumped about that. That's fantastic. Now I can say, okay, let me use a little tiny bit of that money just to hedge in case these trades don't go well because I am getting in early, and then I can add to whatever position in the morning. So I'll be up tomorrow morning trying to get on 30 minutes before the open just to talk about some things, look at that data and see the reaction in the pre-market. So overall, guys, though, thank you guys so much for joining today. I really do appreciate it. Some people saying they're grabbing the course, some people just asking questions about the course. No, I think that's fantastic. One person asking, when does the sale go away? At the end of the month. My birthday month is this month, so I think it's the perfect time to leave those at that price point. I just want to say thank you guys for joining. It's been a blast pretty much all day. I even hopped on early for the closing stream just because things got a little crazy. So thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I wish you nothing but luck for the rest of your trades going on the rest of this week. And just a last little note here. Hood, okay, we're starting to see some reactions for that. We'll see that in the morning. But just a note here about the weekly ranges before I take off. Okay, we're down in this area. So in this area, even though it's an important area to pay attention to. And the thing I want to say here are two things. One's going to be good, one's going to be bad. Bad is this. Bad things happen outside of this range. Bad things can happen. So we want to pay attention to reversal signals around this range right here, this purple line, because 68% of the time, we're going to end in this area here by Friday close. So as of right now, the higher probable move is actually 68% chance to bounce. But from there, we just want to see if it breaks down, you have a 32% chance to see something crazy. So we're going to get you those daily expected moves in the morning so you have a point to pay attention to for the downside in case we go make a deeper divergence, all right? So thank you guys so much for joining today. I wish you guys nothing but luck. I hope you guys have a great, great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.